Hello. Okay, our next lecture is on limiting reactants. So this is Unit 8, Stoichiometry. Sorry, I should have had it written already. Okay, and we're going to look at something called limiting reactant. Okay, so I want you to imagine that you have a bowl or cup or some other container, and you're going to put some vinegar in it. Okay, so you have some vinegar in there, and then you are going to put in some baking soda. Okay, and then you're going to swirl this, keep swirling it until all of the baking soda reacts with the vinegar. Okay, and you'll know this when it stops bubbling. Okay, so you're going to swirl or mix until it stops bubbling. Okay, then what I want you to do, I want you to smell it. Okay, and by the way, the bubbling is CO2 gas that's being made. Okay, that's one of your products. Right, and you should still smell the vinegar. Okay, so if you still have the vinegar smell and no baking soda on the bottom, okay, what that means is you used up the baking soda. Makes sense, right? And you ran out of this stuff. And so you most likely still have vinegar. Oops, vinegar. And you can tell because you should be able to smell that vinegar smell. Okay, so what does that mean for chemistry? That means the baking soda is the limiting reactant. Okay, so the limiting reactant is a reactant that limits how much product you can make. So once you run out of baking soda, you're not going to make any more product. You'll still have the other reactant, the vinegar, in this case. So the vinegar is not the limiting reactant, it's the excess reactant. The reactant that runs out is the limiting reactant. The reaction stops, you can't make any more product. All right, now you can test this, okay, by adding more baking soda. Okay, so if baking soda was your limiting reactant, then when you add more of it, then the reaction should continue. Okay, so that's the check. So I want you to do this. I want you to do this at home if you can, okay, as your activity. This is your homework. But there's this part 2 to this. So what I want you to do after this is you're going to keep adding baking soda. Okay, and it's real important that you keep swirling it, okay? Keep swirling it to make sure that all the baking soda is reacting with the vinegar. Okay, so you're going to add baking soda. Okay, until no more bubbles. Keep adding. So what do you think is going to happen? You're going to run out of vinegar, right? So you should see that there's no vinegar smell. And you keep adding baking soda, eventually there's not going to be any more bubbles, you're not going to make any more CO2 gas, you're going to end up having some baking soda on the bottom that doesn't react. Okay, so no vinegar smell. Okay, baking soda on the bottom. Okay, if you see that, that means you used up the vinegar. Okay, use up the vinegar. The vinegar now is the limiting reactant. Okay, and how do you check that? Add more vinegar. And when you do that, you should see more bubbles. Okay, add more vinegar, see more bubbles, more reaction. Alright, so what does that mean for chemistry? Okay, the limiting reactant, so this is a term you need to know, determines the amount of product and is the reactant that runs out.